Hi, welcome back to Ethics 1, Week 1. We're discussing the Hippocratic Oath, and I've invited Dr. Aram Akopyan, our Dean of Academics here at EIIHS and one of our co-founders. He is a medical doctor, as I'm sure you know, and doctor of traditional Chinese medicine. He's also an NCCAOM diplomat and the Director of Communications for ETCMA. He would like to give us a little insight as to how TCM, the TCM perspective, let's say, on the Hippocratic Oath. So I'll turn the microphone over to you, Dr. Akopyan.
Thank you, Allison. Welcome, students. And I want to, first of all, thank you for learning from us and preparing for an exciting career in health and wellness. And I thought it's important to understand what is the Hippocratic Oath, because classically, it was designed to really convey some fundamental messages and fundamental precepts to all who participate and practice in healing. Unfortunately, as medicine evolved into a business, Hippocratic Oath took a backseat. As a medical doctor, I actually had to take the oath, and I noticed that a lot of the graduates just treat it as just a text that they read. And so I thought maybe I can elucidate you on the importance of the Hippocratic Oath, but not just from the perspective of an oath, but how important it is because it reflects so much of what our medicine, what our TCM medicine conveys as the core precepts of being a healer. So with that, I'd like to share some basic fundamentals of who the primary contributor to that concept is, and then we'll actually take a look at the Hippocratic Oath itself from a twist perspective. So we know that Hippocratic Oath, Hippocrates, developed the oath, a Greek physician who is instrumental in contributing to the humoral theory with Galen, and which eventually became the foundations of today's allopathic Western medicine. So the contributions that Hippocrates made is far beyond just a simple, anatomy and speculated physiology of the human body or the humoral concepts of medicine and disease progression, etc. Much of his work still remains the foundational concepts. There are Hippocratic techniques that laboratory students in medical schools use, and literally they say it's the Hippocratic method for doing certain chemical processing or doing certain lab work, right? And then throughout his life and throughout his education, he created and taught and formulated the oath that he actually demanded of all of his students to partake. And then subsequently, it became the standard in the allopathic medicine. At the core of his oath is that sickness is not a divine punishment. In the classics, before medicine became more scientifically validated and more precepted in the analysis and duplication and identification of the core concepts of disease, the precept was that, if you're sick, that means you did something wrong and God is punishing. And that was from all the way up into the Dark Ages, that was the precept of being sick. So he took that out. He literally removed that and killed the stigma that if you're sick, that means you're a bad person. It changed the way we look at human beings. It changes the way we look at diseases or pathologies, or from our perspective, imbalances. Every living being experiences transient imbalances. And these transient imbalances are very, very core of diseases, right? And that medicine should be ethical, right? It should be practiced ethically. It should be practiced with very specific tenets that govern how you as a physician interact with your patients and with the community at large. And then lastly, confidentiality. The fact that you're dealing with an individual and their entire life, and any information that is shared between the physician and the patient must be treated with utmost confidentiality. There are laws in many, many countries that strictly prohibit, by penalties of prison and serious crime legislation, if a physician shares confidential information outside about a patient. So these are the core tenets of what Hippocrates was trying to convey as he evolved medicine from the Dark Ages into the modern day. And if you literally look at the actual translated text of the Hippocratic Oath, and with your permission, Allison, I'd like to go through these briefly so that you guys can then summarize and create maybe your own oath, individualized oath, because I think using someone else's oath is not personal. So what I always tell my students is take the oath, create your own oath, internalize it, make it your own message, so that you can add your own personal passions and your personal commitments and your personal beliefs into your oath. As you may be an energetics practitioner, you may be an acupuncturist, you may be a manual therapist, it doesn't matter. You may be a surgeon, right? I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians before me, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. This is very important. Gladly share such knowledge. Without knowledge sharing, nothing advances. Nothing. And it is a traditional Taoist belief, a philosophical concept. And Buddhists share this as well. And even a lot of the new quantum mechanics scientific concepts are proving this, is that knowledge exists on its own. It is written in the fabric of space-time. It exists in its own. The projection of that knowledge manifests in an individual. Einstein's, Mozart's, individuals who have a connection, whether by accident or by intent, by intense medication or meditation or practice. You look at ayahuasca, you look at the South American practices where they open that connection to the cosmic knowledge, right? And you gain that knowledge. That knowledge cannot be hoarded. It doesn't belong to you or me. It belongs to the universe. Hence, it must be shared with the universe gladly, with an open heart. Only then, can do away with disease, right? I will apply, for the benefit of the sick, all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. Don't feel like a god. A lot of Western physicians, because they are in a position where the patient is literally hanging by their fingernails, and they come to you as a last resort, and if you happen to be a brilliant surgeon and you cure them or you save them, that gives you that nihilistic feeling, right? Never allow that to be the trap that you fall in. Whenever I see someone say, I'm a master acupuncturist at this, I run away. No one is a master. We are tools of the cosmic knowledge and the patient. Do you know who the best doctor for the patient is? The patient. They live with themselves 24 hours a day. You only see them maybe once a week for half an hour. How can you presume to be of such nihilistic that you are the savior of that patient? So it behooves you as a physician to act humbly, to perceive the changes in the patient as their accomplishment. You are simply aiding them and providing them with the knowledge that is not yours, that's the cosmic knowledge, the tools, and your journey through that experience to help them achieve the healing that they need. That is a fundamental precept of TCM. And lo and behold, a thousands of years old medicine from Asia and Hippocratic Oath mimicking and mirroring the statement that is so important. Lao Tzu says, humble, be humble. Don't take credit for everything out there. The universe is doing these things. You are just a tool. I will remember that there is an art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. Powerful. This talks specifically to the fact that medicine has gone a little bit too far to the right and too scientific. We never need to forget, we cannot forget that we're dealing with human beings. Art is very important. The understanding of the sympathy, the understanding, the warmth, the connection between two human spirits when healing takes place. And that is very important. You know, sometimes you hear people talk about spontaneous healing. You know, cancer just spontaneously disappeared. It's not placebo. There are underlying functional things that occur to make that happen. It's random because we are not aware of it. We're not cognizant of it. But it is essential in all healing that there's that art to that medicine, to the practice. I will not be ashamed to say I know not, nor will I fail to call in my colleagues when the skills that are theirs are important for the recovery of the patient. Ultimate goal for all physicians, anyone who calls themselves a healer, a doctor, a physician, a therapist, the ultimate goal is to make the patient better. It doesn't matter who is involved, what is involved. The shared goal of all of us should be to make the patient better. If you understand that and you display that, work within that notion with other physicians, they will understand that aspect as well. Biggest challenge that we face right now, because we are a sort of a complementary, somewhat alternative field of medicine and healing, a lot of physicians will preclude your services from being the overall offering for their patient. That is a disservice to that patient. Keep that in mind. And you can call them on that. You can literally call an MD on that and say, what is your ultimate goal here, Mr. MD? It is to make the patient better. Does it matter if it's an acupuncture needle, a dietary supplement, a meditation, a breathing techniques, a smile, a hug? Does it make the patient feel better? Does it make the patient's symptoms disappear? That's it. You have achieved your goal. It is hubris that allows you to preclude other services to make someone better because you want to be the God. You want to be the one that makes it happen. That is a disservice in direct contrast against the Hippocratic Oath that you took. That you can call anyone on. And that is a powerful statement that you need to internalize as a would-be, should-be, soon-to-be healer, so that you can believe in that, practice such, and then call others of the profession to that call. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that may know. Most especially must treat to care for the patients in matters of life and death. If it is given to me to save a life, all thanks, but it may also be written within my powers to take a life. Do no harm. Practice within the scope. Never expand your scope outside. You're trained to be XYZ. Be the XYZ. Be the best XYZ. Right? Don't go outside of your scope of work. Engage others that are in that scope of work. Be humble. Right? And be aware of your frailties. No one knows everything. No one is above all, right? And the difference at this point is he removes the theistic element from the formula. I must not pray to God or play the God. Don't allow the accomplishments of your therapeutics to elevate you and elevate your ego. Always remain humble. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being. In another statement that I value of Hippocrates, he says, it is much better to know the person who has the sickness than the disease that the person has. What does that talk about? That's the precept of TCM. We don't treat diseases. We treat people. We treat human beings with imbalances. And in understanding the difference between a disease, a fever chart, or a cancerous growth, or a headache, versus a human being, a holistic human being, will put you in a much better place as a diagnostician, as a therapist, and ultimately as a healer. I will prevent disease wherever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. Proactive rather than reactive. Medicine today has become reactive. We must, all of you, we must take it upon ourselves to change that paradigm, to go proactive. Because it's much easier to prevent a disease from occurring than it is after the disease has occurred to try to cure it. And there are so many simple things, from lifestyle, dietetics, regular therapies, regular holistic wellness. You know, I always tell my patients, you take your car to a mechanic on clockwork. You fail to do the same for your body. Your body is a machine. Why is it that you put higher priority for your car to get the oil change and looked at and make sure that everything is clean and take them to a detail shop once a month, right? Yet you do not do that same thing for your body, which you're going to be living with for the rest of your life. Your car, the lease is going to come up, you're going to throw it away. So it's very important to understand the preventive element rather than the reactive element of medicine. I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind, body, as well as the infirm. The infirm is the spirit. What are the three words in TCM? Jing, Qi, Shen. Mind, body, spirit. So here's a concept of medicine that is 5,000 years old, and here's Hippocratic Oath. The Hippocratic Oath, which all doctors take, matches, mimics, mirrors all of the precepts that we're teaching you here in this school. So we are integrated by default, by de facto. It is the MDs and the other professionals need to maybe review and revisit the true core tenets and meanings of the Hippocratic Oath that all of them took. Right? And to take joy in healing. All of you are in this profession. You chose this for a reason. You didn't wake up one day and said, you know what, I need more money, so I'm going to go become an acupuncturist or an energy healer. That's not what drove you here. There's a core, fundamental, spiritual calling that made you choose an alternate life, an alternate pathway in your life. And that pathway leads to joy of healing. The fact that when you see a person who's coming to you suffering, and through your efforts, through your help, through your contributions, you help that person get better. There's no amount of currency, whether it's euros or dollars or a renminbi, whatever, that's going to match that. None. The karmic feedback, the karmic currency that you gain from that, the joy that you receive as an individual is supreme. So just as a summary, you know, I think as a student, you need to look at these tenets. You need to understand what they mean for you individually. How can you live those tenets, not just in your private practice, but in your life? Because once you become a healer, you're a healer 24 hours a day. End of story. You can't go to work, clock in and become person A and then go home and become person B. You can't. The calling of becoming a healer is life. It's with you for life. And it changes you. It changes your personal relationships. It changes your relationships with friends, with your loved ones, with your family. with the world around you, right? Because you have knowledge now that is much deeper. And if you can understand the fundamental teachings of TCM, the Taoist philosophies of the interconnectedness of the universe, and the Tai Chi, which literally outlines the entire process of the cosmic time, you understand a deeper layer of the reality that you're in. And that changes you fundamentally. And when that happens, you become the embodiment of that healer, a resource for anyone to go to. And you know of these resources. You've seen them, you've heard of them, you've read them in big books from ancient times to modern times. So I want to share with you the vision that maybe some of you will aspire to become such an individual. Thank you very much. Allison, thank you for the time. I hope I didn't take too much of your time, and hopefully the students can get something out of this.
Oh,
Thanks.
we got a lot out of it, I'm sure. Thank you so much,
Great.
Dr. Aram, because it was it was a really well-rounded presentation, and we have a lot to discuss in our course. And actually, you'll be happy to know that our flipped classroom assignment, it was going to be announced at the end, but it is for them to create their own oaths. So I'll share
Excellent.
that with you. I know you'll be very excited to see what our students are promising and aspiring to live
Excellent.
up to.
Excellent. I'd love to suggest, if I may, take some of those individual oaths, sanitize them from name, and actually put them on our website, because I want
Absolutely.
others to read it and to see how a student changes, how a person changes when they begin to study this medicine. You know, people say, I'm studying medicine. No, you're studying life. This is what you're doing here. And it changes you on many aspects, you know, and I want that to be visible to you as a student, to your colleagues, to your friends, to your family, to your loved ones, to the world. That's how we change the world, folks. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I love that you echo a sentiment that we hear also in this module from another practitioner, you know, that this truly is a calling, that you're called to this path of healing, that you're called to this life of service. And that's why the ethics program, the ethics principles are so central and foundational to our practice, because they truly are how we guide ourselves and how we stay centered and grounded in what we're really truly here to be doing. So thank you so
Excellent.
much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Okay, we'll see you guys in the next video.